Well, here we are. For those of you who don't know, Flashpoint just came out, and it's a bit of a hallmark release for a couple of reasons, actually, but the most important one, perhaps, outside of the story, is the inclusion of an entirely new type of legendary item that's just come to Guild Wars 2. Since its release in 2012, really, legendary weapons have been the main thing that people have been able to go for. There was, like, this incinerator here. There was a bit of a thing for a while, where you can get legendary backpacks now, though the backpacks really were never as impressive to me as perhaps they have been to other people, and I never really cared that much about. But for neither of these previous types of legendaries have I really talked about getting any of this stuff on my account. I've never done a video where I showed it off, and so I wanted to change that for the newest category, which just came in with Flashpoint, and that's legendary armor. So we can now have weapons, this here, and armor. Perhaps in the future with new expansions and stuff, we'll see legendary amulets and rings and stuff. But, I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with this. This is a big moment. Some people don't like the way it looks, and honestly, I really detest the way that the medium stuff looks. But I've decided I'm going to go for light. And so here I am, just a day after the patch came out. And I want to show you guys how to craft it, how I actually ended up getting it. So it all starts with a huge amount of busy work, really, that won't be in this video, that gives you the Precursor Armor. So just like all the other legendary stuff in the game, you've got a pre that you need to get. The Precursor Armor comes from the result of doing a collection. So if you check here, the Legendary Armor section, there's two collections you've got to do. You've got to get Experimental Armor. The Envoys shepherd the souls of the dead to their place in the underworld. By studying spiritual energy, you may learn their secrets and start your journey toward building a truly legendary set of armor. So this set here, all of these tasks are like bonus challenges and things and items you've got to get from the first set of raids, right? The Forsaken Thicket. And then the second one, Envoy Armor with Refined Armor, is still kind of Forsaken Thicket related, but it's to do with a crystalline heart that you craft for yourself. And so it says to improve on your original set of Envoy Armor, it will take incredible amount of aspected magical energy collected from across Tyria and the Mist. And so this encourages you to do like a lot of basically Heart of Thorns meta event stuff, Heart of Thorns raid stuff, and spending some money. It all ends with this clip you can see here, which I just recorded, where basically you take your heart that's gone through various forms to a tree at the end of the most recent raid content. You kneel down at the tree and you give the heart to this tree, this living thing, and Saul D'Alessio spirit takes it from you and thanks you. So what this means in lore, I really don't know. So to look at the heart things here again, it starts with a crystal heart, then it becomes vine and burning and frozen, and you sort of just infuse it with all this stuff. I really like the art for this. And eventually you lose the heart by throwing it away under this tree. I don't know what the devs are trying to say. And the armor's kind of weird as well because it's Envoy armor. Envoys are a part of the lore to do with Cantha, which is not a continent that has anything to do with Heart of Thorns or anything to do with any of the story right now. But the Envoys are shepherds of the dead from Cantha. And apparently we get their armor. It really doesn't go any further than that in terms of the lore. Maybe the devs had better and stronger ideas for linking all this together at some point in the past, but it's just not a thing. I mean, there's some aspect of souls, sure, and death in both the Forsaken Thicket and the Bastion of the Penitent, which is what a lot of this is like, but I don't know, man. I don't know how it really links up, and certainly this armor we're about to craft doesn't, you know, look anything like the Envoys, so hey. So yeah, with our Precursor Armor in hand, which looks pretty good, by the way, especially the heavy Precursor Armor, I really like the look of. You're not seeing me wearing that right now, I'm just wearing an outfit. With the Pre's, we now have to, you know, combine it in the Mystic Forge with 3 other items to get the stuff itself. And that's what I'm going to do right here, right now. Instead of appearing as background footage or something, I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. I'm going for light. Now, the reason I'm going for light armor is because I mostly play a light armor character. So, as legendary stuff, this armor, we're going to be able to stat swap, we're going to be able to rune swap, which is pretty nice. I've already got tons of light armor sets, and I was very tempted to go for heavy in the end, but I think light's what I'll do, just to sort of round it all out. And indeed, from this point on my videos, you're basically going to be seeing me running around in this set and very rarely, you know, hiding it from anywhere else. So, let's talk about what we need. It's a lot of stuff. It's maybe not as expensive as I was first expecting. Probably beyond the effort it would take to get a single legendary weapon, but nothing too crazy. So I've actually singled out here a bank tab with all of the items that I need to turn this Precursor Armor into the legendary stuff, which is really the big step and the real big, you know, financial part. But I've left a lot of it just shy of being complete so that I can do that on this video with you guys and sort of walk you through the whole crafting process so you know just kind of how difficult or easy, depending on your perspective, this stuff was. So let's take it from the top. This stuff over here on the left, right? You'll notice I got gifts of blood, gifts of totems, venom, dust, and then down here claws, bones, fangs, and scales. This stuff you might not be familiar with if you are only like a 2012 player and you haven't made a legendary since Heart of Thorns came out. But basically, this is kind of the new version of the Gift of Fortune, which has, you know, sinks for fine materials. So if we go to our material storage, all this stuff here, basically, it's a huge amount of all of these things. So I'm an artificer right now, and I'll show you if I type gift in here. You see, I can craft a gift of blood with T6 blood, T5 blood, T4, and T3. So just tons of blood. But unlike in 2012, where it was just the top tier you needed, this is also a sink for the lower tiers as well, like a stack of T5 and so on and so on and so on. So what you need for legendary armor is you need one of each of these gifts per armor piece. And so there's 6 armor pieces. I've already crafted 5, and I figured I'd go through and craft the 6th with you guys here. So here we'll get a gift of blood. We'll get a gift of bones. We'll get a gift of claws, and this is obviously the boring bit. This is the bit where really you're just going to be more than likely grinding for gold and then spending that on T5 and T6 eventually. Here we've got this tier. We've got totems down here. And finally we have venom. So I prepped all this. I feel like I'm doing a cooking show with you guys. It's great, okay? So now, with all of that in hand, I'd missed a gift of fangs that I hadn't quite done just yet. With all of these gifts, what we do is we take them to a Mystic Forge. I think there should be a Mystic Forge in this area, right? Shouldn't there? They usually do Mystic Forges in these places. It's just striking me. I've never used a forge at Noble's Folly. Here we go. It's up here on this little thing. That's cool. So basically, we come up here, we go to the Mystic Forge, and we combine. So 6 gifts of claws. Claws go with scales, bones, and fangs. This is just like in 2012. Imagine these would have been the T6 mats. And we get a gift out of it. We get a gift of condensed might, okay? And what we need is 6 gifts of condensed might. So I'll do that very quickly here. And voila, there we go. And just like with those, the kind of the harder T6 materials, we're going to do the same here for, well, not harder, I don't know, the more aggressive ones, right? We're going to do it for the more magical ones now, for the gift of condensed magic. And these are just like the gift of magic and the gift of might that you might expect from the original set. And voila. So that's kind of the first big stage, right? So once we got that, and that's quite a lot of money we just sort of had to mess around with there too. With those gifts, we can take them and put them alongside our clovers here. All right, and so now the way I've got this organized should hopefully make sense for you guys. I'm obviously not going to roll for clovers on the video. But so we've got Precursor Armor combines with the thing from the top row, the thing from the middle row, and then finally the thing from the bottom row. So all we've got left to do on this video here, before I can craft my stuff, which I'm very excited to do, is get the last of these items. Just the last of these items here. So since we've already done this bottom one here, let's finish this off. So we need condensed magic, condensed might, clovers, and then we need 6 other items here. These 6 items are probably the most annoying things to get out of the entire legendary armor process, and it's because they're bought with a currency called provisioners tokens. So let's quickly swap character here. I'll show you guys how this works. This is by far the most annoying gift. With everything else, you know, what we just did in the forge and so forth, it's pretty frustrating. So provisioners tokens, essentially the idea is you go to people who are members of the pact in the jungle maps, each of the 3 really jungle maps, and you get these provisioners at each of the outposts. Remember this feature that ArenaNet were talking about? Oh, you got outposts, areas that, you know, meta events are bundled around. Most outposts have a provisioner, faction provisioner at them. And what they'll say is, we need weapons and armor to sustain the war effort. And you can say, well, I'd like to help. And each faction provisioner asks for different kinds of rares. So what this does is this encourages players to make rares so that then they have value on the trading post and so forth as people trade them in at faction provisioners. So you can buy the rares straight off of the TP, or you can craft the rares. I already have a ton of them on this character here. So you see all these swords here I got a while ago. I'm basically just holding onto these, and once per day you can go to every single one of these provisioners, of which there are 12, and you can hand your rare stuff in. It's just like another thing you can do each day. It's a really fiddly mechanic, and we could probably talk a lot about what sucks about it. The idea, though, is A, it keeps areas of the economy really, you know, continually moving, and B, it keeps people doing the meta events to make sure the faction provisioners are unlocked. So anyway, once you give them one, you'll see you get this thing here called a Provisioner Token. And a Provisioner Token can be spent on a variety of things. Let's go back to our main character now, because that was my 300th Provisioner Token. I saved the last one to do on this video here with you guys. So back on my main character here, I'll show you the kind of things you can spend Provisioner's Tokens on. You can get supply bags here for 5 of them. So this is like 5 rares to get this, basically. And I can tell you for a fact that I don't think any of these are worth it. You can get exotic equipment satchels where you get gear out of it. Down here, you've got a tab of bloodbound weapons, which is actually a really interesting idea. They're weapons that level with you, so you can have rare weapons at level 1, even though rare isn't a tier of like item that should even be unlocked to you. And you can just equip this on a new character and just charge through the game and never have to worry about anything. They're really interesting, but they cost way too much. A whole stack of Provisioner tokens. So 250 rares at a rate of only being able to trade in 12 per day. It's, oh god, these are awful. But the most important thing for us are these gifts of craftsmanship. Each one costs 50, and each piece of legendary armor wants 1 of them. So you want 6. So 6 times 50 is 300. And guess what? I just got my 300th Provisioner token with you guys right there. So we'll buy 6 of these. And with those 6 gifts of craftsmanship, each of them worth 50 rares, whew, we are finally done with this bottom row here, which is great. So that's what Provisioner tokens are. This is probably the hardest thing by a long way, this bottom row here. If you see people online complaining about Provisioner tokens, that's what they're complaining about. To be honest, a lot of the really dedicated people actually exploited a bug that allowed them to instantly get tons of Provisioner tokens right when Heart of Thorns first came out, and don't know the pain. But it is a painful part of the process, and maybe a video on its own can talk about that more. The other parts, honestly, aren't so bad to go for. So we've got this top row up here. We've got obsidian shards, just get lots of karma, obviously is not a problem. We've got cubes of stabilized dark energy, which you get from salvaging ascended armor and stuff in the game, and then you have to combine with a fractal currency. So this is fractal playtime in here, this is other ascended stuff in here, this is lots of dynamic events and other things that give karma, obviously. And then lastly, legendary insights. So I've extracted 150 of mine to put into this stack here. So each piece of armor will cost, what is it, 25 or 15 or something? Anyway, whatever it is, times 6. You need 150 of them to get all of your armor. And then lastly, on this little slot here, well, it's just like in 2012, if we come on up to the Mystic Forge here, bit of an awkward way up, just like in 2012, again, this is like the Gift of Mastery equivalent, an Eldritch Scroll, which is skill points. So that's just skill points thing. It's really weird. Like, I feel like it should be Bloodstone Shards. You know, but maybe they thought that 6 Bloodstone Shards would be too many, or they didn't like that the flavor text here said it's just for legendary weapons, not legendary armor. It's just weird, though. Eldritch Scrolls, I don't know. Anyway, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to want 6 Eldritch Scrolls, which is a total of 300 Spirit Shards, all right? So we'll pick those up. Voila. So you can probably see the way that this is set up already. You've got your new kind of Gift of Mastery up here. You've got your new kind of Gift of Fortune down here. And then what about this last one? So this middle row is all to do with the Heart of Thorns maps, right? So first, I needed 30 reclaimed metal plates. And those mostly, though you can get them on all the maps, they're mostly associated with Verdant Brink, where they're a reward for completing the meta. So this is like 30 metas of Verdant Brink. Or if you get lucky, picking up reclaimed items, you can then salvage them. So you've basically got 30 of these to encourage you to do a lot of Verdant Brink. You've got 30 auric ingots, which of course are from Auric Basin and doing that meta event, or mostly associated with it. And then 30 chuck eggs, which are probably the harder of all of them because they're much more specifically to do with the meta event, which require you to kill the chuck Gerent, and then you can like get 2 per Gerent you kill, or you can get very lucky when you open the chests, right? So you've got the 3 maps. Then once you've got 30 of each from the 3 maps, I really like the way that a lot of this is laid out. It's very logical. You need one final thing, which you get from Dragon's Stand, but essentially is just saying, please play lots of Heart of Thorns still, okay? So in Dragon's Stand, if we come over to the vendor, anyone who sells crystalline stuff, who's right here, if we open this up, you guys, keen-eyed people might have noticed this got added. I don't think this was here for a long time, but you've got Gifts of the Pact. So a Gift of the Pact is Verdant Brink currency, it's Auric Basin currency, and it's Tangled Depths currency. So you need lots of the items from those maps and lots of the currency from those maps. And of course, we need 6 of these again. These numbers might only seem really high, like 1,000 of each, but remember, if you only want to make 1 piece of legendary armor, it's actually kind of cheap. Because you're slashing all of these prices by 6. You don't have to do the whole set at once like I and most people have. But yeah, so 6 gifts of the pact, and I've made sure I've got enough currency to cover all of that. And with that, guys, we're basically ready. Where should we craft it? There's got to be a cool place to craft. It's got to be Lion's Arch. Let's do it in New LA. I make all my best stuff in LA, so let's do it there. And so there we go. With that, we're ready. So, Gift of Mastery done, Gift of Maps done, and Gift of Fortune, essentially. We'll see the new names of those in just a second. We're basically going to bung all of this stuff in the forge now. All of it. So let me just bring it all into my inventory here. And this is it. This is the moment. Oh, and I'm really happy to do this actually on a video. I know not everybody's actually interested in these kind of videos, but I've tried to make it vaguely educational at least. All right. So here we go. Let's do the stuff with the legendary insights first. So however many insights plus 1 Eldritch Scroll plus a cube plus some obsidian shards equals the Gift of Prowess, which for some reason is only exotic. That's crazy. So a Gift of Prowess. We want to get all 6 of those out of the forge now. So let's forge those through. Yeah, so it's 25 legendary insights each time. So there we go. That's our Gift of Prowess right there. Lovely jubbly. Now, and we've got 6 of them. Now let's move on and let's get our Gifts of the Maps out. So there we go. Gifts of the Pact, Reclaimed Plates, Ingots, Eggs. And this is a Gift of Dedication that we get out. It looks really nice. It looks like an amulet. Looks almost like they've just reused that and that was supposed to be from somewhere else. I actually think the Gift of Dedication, and don't hate me here, but I actually think that they could have been, compared to how difficult the other 2 gifts are, could have been a bit harder. Like, this one's really, really just, spend maybe a few nights in the Heart of Thorns maps and you're basically done with it. The other 2, require ages of playing raids to get all the insights, or ages doing provisioners tokens, or just tons of money, basically. This one's not so bad. But there you go, 6 Gifts of Dedication. And then lastly, the real brutal one. Our new version of the Gift of Fortune, called the Gift of Prosperity. Very shiny looking icon there. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Too much clicking. And so there we go with the Gifts of Prosperity in. We've now got everything we need. So we're going to put a Gift of Prosperity, Gift of Dedication, Gift of Prowess, and then we're going to pick a piece of our legendary armor. I guess we'll start with our Precursor Armor. I guess we'll start with the chest piece, okay? So we're going to forge all of this. Now, you'll notice that I haven't, got a rune in mine. I haven't selected any stats in it. I haven't put an infusion in it or anything like that, because it's just going to get rolled into the forge anyway. But so this armor attempts to channel the power of the envoys, and then when we combine it with all this other stuff, down the bottom right, we get ding, skin unlocked, perfected envoy vestments, and legendary armor comes out. They didn't even change the flavor text. Oh, ArenaNet, why? What do you mean? Change the flavor text, damn it. This envoy attempts to channel the power of the envoys. Okay, cool. So here we go, and then we'll get to the next one. And so this is our legendary helmet here, the perfected cowl, the perfected mantle. Oh, this feels so good. Oh, man. I swear, the forge has given me some of my greatest experiences in this game. Ah. Oh. There we go. We got the gloves there. Here come the legs. That's the pants done. Oh my god, so much work for that. And finally, the envoy shoes. Look at that. Oh my god. I mean, I'll have to rune it and stuff, but we finally got a set of legendary armor. Oh my god, it's taken a long time. So here we go. I'll equip it. It's got no stats on it or anything. So as legendary, this stuff will be forever stat selectable. So I can say, right, I want it to be Berserker right now. And then I can go, all right, no, I'm sick of Berserker. And I can go to Wanderers instead, right? Or maybe I can swap it to Zealots or whatever later. The other really cool thing about this stuff is that if it has a rune in it, say this minor rune of divinity, okay? If I want to swap that rune out for this rune of the flock, when I do so, it won't delete the old rune. It just hot swaps the runes. Look at that. Oh, it feels so good. And I mean, if they had a slightly quicker way of dropping runes on the whole set, that would be amazing. But so this will never delete any runes that are on it. Really massive quality of life. Quality of life that really has profound impact on the economy, I think. That they're too scared to do for weapons, funnily enough. But yeah, so there you go. That's the legendary armor. And then visually, this is what it looks like. I think we shouldn't have any dyes on at all right now. Let's just make sure. Yeah, I think this is all empty. This is how it comes default dyed, and obviously on an Asura. But what's supposed to be amazing about this, and it really works very well with the legendary Fractal's backpack, so I'll equip that as well while we're at it, because it seems like they're kind of made for one another, right? So this is the Fractal backpack on us here, as we can see. Now, when I unsheath my weapons here, you're going to see a big animation play, and you're going to see all of the armor transform to look different. Okay, so here we go. Ready? Oh, baby. And all these crystals will grow out on us, and will look pretty cool. So, unfortunately, I'm an Asura, and it's never going to look that good on an Asura. So give me a second, and I'll show you what it looks like on a bigger character. And so here we are on a human male necro, probably better proportions. I dyed it a little bit as well. You guys know me, I'm awful at Fashion Wars too. How you can like combo this with other sets will be really interesting to see. But I made it a little bit blue, maybe to match the backpack there, and we got some more black on there. Also, I'm not wielding any legendaries in my hands, so here you should really be able to see the effects themselves. Like, pay attention to our head here, if you can. I'll turn the user interface off as well. So here we go. When I equip my weapons, this is how it looks. I mean, it's really intricate, right? Like, if you look at the shoulders, you look at the crystals twitching as we go. And so, when I unequip it, here's the back as well. You see this long thing, like, grows down the back like a bit of a spine. And you got all the legs actually look really awesome. And so when I unequip, you'll see all this stuff fold away. Watch the back here. And so you see it all recedes. And you get that big kind of explosive animation as well there as it grows up. You get this thing going on the back. That's not the back piece. These like floating like crystals here at the back. They're not the back piece. That's the armor that's doing that, which is why it looks like it's all meant to complement each other. And yeah, there you go. That's probably a much better look than how the Asura are. Hey, man, I regret once again having an Asura as a main. But that's legendary armor, guys. The medium's a bit hilarious. I think the heavy looks really awesome as well. Let me know what you guys think now that it's out. Hopefully, this can be a bit of a platform for some discussion on various things. What did you guys think about acquiring it? Was it as rewarding as you hoped it to be? I feel pretty good right now, except the fact that I'm Asura. So we'll see. But there you go, guys. That's another big part of Flashpoint. Thanks very much for watching. Legendary armor's in the game, and we'll see how long it takes for the devs to do something new. Cheers, everyone. I'll catch you next time. Oh, this is cool.